Right, welcome back to Break at the Apex for the Jeddah race review. Marchana,
Mm-hmm.
it was actually an
Mm-hmm.
epic race, I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't a lot of action, but it was an epic race. But listen, I let's just get straight into it. Let's not beat around the bush, right? Because I want to talk about that turn one incident, right? I think it was a penalty. For Max, it was a penalty. But if Lewis did that, I wouldn't have given Lewis a penalty. Of
Why?
course, that happened last. That happened last year. Sorry, I forgot about that. Sorry, no, that happened last year where Lewis did the same thing and then he didn't get a penalty, but now Max got a penalty. I'm trying to audition. I'm trying to audition to become an F1
Okay.
steward. So I'm just saying, like, I would have given Max a penalty, but I wouldn't have given Lewis a penalty because,
But you
if I
you
want to
you
become an
forget
F,
but you forget that the FIA actually owe Lewis something at least for 2021. Hmm? Huh?
nah, I mean,
Okay. Okay.
I'm not,
I
I'm
I
saying nothing,
I
mate.
think I think they owe him. Probably like 3 or 4, you know, late goes. So that was the first one
Let's,
last year.
yeah, let's be honest. They can't help him at the moment.
Sure, dude.
Yeah, it's a bit rough.
Jeez.
That's a bit rough. Anyways, guys, thanks for joining us, and I hope you're in for a good episode because we've got a couple things to discuss, and well, I guess one of them will be the turn one incident, but let's ease into it. BT, how did you find the race overall, in general?
I think Bahrain was better, my opinion. Bahrain was better. I mean, I think the tire situation is still there. Pirelli hasn't really improved the tires they bring in the races so far. I mean, there's no high dig. I mean, the Ferrari went for over 30 laps on the mediums. Like, what is that? Just think about it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I'm
I
not
mean,
saying
Leclerc.
yeah, not
Yeah,
saying Leclerc didn't do a good job, but come on now, like over 30 laps. He could actually, I think he could actually finish the whole, maybe not finish the whole race, but I think you could have continued until there's 10 laps in the race. So, strategy wise, race was brilliant. Chaos wise, not really, except for Bortoleto trying to knock into his manager, which is as funny as hell. But yeah, no, I mean it was a good race. It was a good race.
yeah.
Yeah, nothing else on my side,
So the
to
way,
be honest with you.
yeah, the way I put it is simple. It wasn't the most action-packed race, but it was extremely entertaining. There was just certain things about the race where I was like, whoa, okay, what's happening? Is he gonna catch him? Is he not gonna catch him? Is this guy gonna do this? I mean, the Lawson Hadjar thing. I mean, Lawson did so well this weekend. Personally, I think Lawson is starting to come back into his own in his own little way. But then Hadjar pulled off an amazing strategy that just leapfrog. I mean, Lawson outqualified Hadjar for the first time this year. But then Hadjar pulled out an amazing strategy that just leapfrogged him above Lawson. So I think, and then also Lawson got his 10-second penalty, which I think is ridiculous. But that's whatever. That's whatever. The point is that I found a lot of the race extremely entertaining, but just it lacked a lot of action. So with Bahrain, I think one thing that I loved about Bahrain was, and I didn't even get to really watch it. I sort of like watched it after the fact and in bits and pieces. But one thing about Bahrain that was extremely exciting was the fact that there was like 3 different tire strategies. Like there were so
Yeah,
many different people going. I like races like that. I think that just makes the races so much more exciting. Even if nothing is happening, there's just you've got that thinking of like, okay, but is he gonna go quicker because he's got softs now? Is this? Whereas in Jeddah we didn't get that, but we did get other types of excitement, like Leclerc, for example. There was a stage I thought he was going to catch Max even. I mean, geez.
yeah, me too.
Norris being on the quicker tire at the end, you would think that he should have actually caught Leclerc as well. So yeah, it was a bit of a mixed bag. But let's talk about that turn one incident. I mean, I mean I feel like it's a 50-50 shot, right? If they said no penalty, I would have said, nah, okay, cool. If they said penalty, I would have said, nah, okay, cool. And the reason for that is simple. By law, that's a penalty. We can't argue with that. But the thing is, we've seen this happen so many times. We've seen Max do this so many times. We've seen Lewis
I
do
was
it
about to
before,
I was about to
and
say that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it doesn't always result in a penalty. So it's like I can understand why Max took the shot, and Brundle actually said it perfectly. He said Max Max let go of the brake, and you could see it. Max let go of the brakes completely to try and catapult himself ahead of Piastri so that it could look like he was ahead at that apex. And it's worked for him plenty times before. And look, that's what champions are made of. They push it as far as they can push it. This time, it just didn't work in his favor, unfortunately. But yeah, I think 50-50. Had they not given the penalty, I would have said, well, they haven't given that penalty for so many other drivers in the past, so it's okay. But the fact that he did get the penalty, it's also okay because by the law, he did take a chance. Let's be honest.
I mean, I looked at it in a different way. I looked at it as Verstappen honestly thought Piastri is kind of scared of him. He'd done that to Norris last year, where he did do the same thing, and Norris did nudge a couple of times and did complain of the radio. Piastri didn't do. Piastri didn't complain of the radio. He didn't nudge. He continued with his racing line. What does that say about Piastri?
Well, he did. Well, I won't say. I mean, I don't think he complained, but he did. He did say,
Yes, obvious. Yeah.
yeah,
But the the
but he
difference
wasn't
between
complaining.
yeah. But the difference between him acknowledging the team and the way Norris acknowledges the team was quite different.
Mm,
You know,
for
and
sure.
and the way that Piastri actually went into that corner or the chicane, whatever you call it, he was actually confident that he's gonna make it through as well. So
Mm,
what Verstappen
100%.
normally does to other drivers didn't quite work in Piastri at that certain point, and I think that's partially what frustrates Verstappen. Besides the 5 second penalty.
For sure. I think, uh, to be honest, I think what frustrates Verstappen is none of that really. I think what frustrates
Mm,
Verstappen is first of all the inconsistencies. I've been saying this on social media as well. I think the inconsistency of FIA and how they administer certain rules, it's stupid. And the reason I say that is because, like I said, last year Max was the victim in the sense, and Lewis was the one that did this. Lewis didn't get a penalty, right?
hmm
I can understand. I can understand why Max, because Max is the type of driver, he's putting in work. He's the type of driver that probably studied last year's race before he started this race, so he probably remembers it pretty clearly. You know, so I think for him, he probably feels very hard done by. That's fine. It's racing. It happens. I think for him, the thing is that he just can't express himself because he's too scared to, because he's just worried if he does, he's going to end up in a fine and maybe a race ban because of all this military enforced rules that FIA are imposing, which is ridiculous on its own. That's a conversation that we can talk about another time. Um, but I guess we should just stick to this for now. I mean, look, I don't think there's much of a conversation here, honestly. I think turn one incident, it's a penalty. By the law, it's a penalty. Whether you like it or not, it was a penalty. I will say, I do agree, or I do understand why Max might feel hard done by. I completely understand it. I back him with it. I'm not upset about it. I don't think he's done anything wrong. But it was a penalty, and that's it. What I liked, regardless of how upset he was, which you could clearly see after the race, he was quite upset. Um, but regardless of it, I liked that he didn't take anything away from Oscar. He congratulated Oscar twice. After the race and on the podium, he gave him a cheers. He even laughed at Oscar's jokes in the cool down room, but he didn't really speak. He just laughed at the joke that he made. And I like that. I like that because I think that was I think that's Max. People said he was super disrespectful, but I think that's Max maturing into a sense of, I know what's at stake here. I'm just going to keep it calm. I'm just going to keep quiet. I'm going to say congratulations. I'm not going to bitch and moan about it. I'm just going to get on with it. I mean, the kid's having a baby. You know what I mean? He's got to grow up eventually. So I say that. I've never thought that he needed to grow up in such ways. It's just, yeah, in some ways, sure, he does need to mellow. And I think this is him mellowing out. So I'm quite
But
happy.
But the thing is now, like in a circumstance, in a situation where they didn't give the 5 second penalty, you believe that Max is winning that race.
It's so difficult, man. It's so difficult because on one hand, Oscar did have some good pace, but on the other hand, Max also was catching him later in the race. On the other hand, as well, so we can play it like this. You can say, okay, Oscar did have some really good pace, but then Max also kept within. I mean, first of all, in the beginning, Max did eventually run away before the pits. Max did eventually gain a bit of a gap. I think he was 3 to 4 seconds ahead by the time he went into the pits. So based on that, I think Max was winning. My honest opinion, because of that. But who knows what would have happened later in the race? What did happen later in the race is that Max did sort of catch Oscar slightly, but there was also back markers, so you never know how that played. But also Hamilton also kept Max up, didn't really keep Oscar up. So all in all, it's very much of a muchness. There's not much of a difference there. I think Max would have probably won just simply because he did initially pull away eventually. And also, it's difficult because this clean air thing, man, the clean air, dirty air, like it just seems like when you're in clean air, these drivers are just so much more faster and comfortable. And when they're in dirty air, they struggle. So I don't know. I think he would have, but it is difficult because Oscar did have some pace in that car. Well, I don't know. What do you think about it?
I think Oscar would eventually pass him, to be honest with you. I mean, the 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 McLaren was good in both tires, both hards and mediums. There was no weakness in that car this weekend, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
So I think at some point, um Piastri was gonna catch Max, to be honest with you.
In hindsight, the race ended the way it needed to, right? I mean, ultimately, Max still came second. It's no, he's still in the car that's probably third, fourth best car, and he's still putting that car in second. It's still something special. I really think that we still shouldn't downplay that because he didn't win. Although I say third or fourth best car, I think it's quite clear that this Red Bull really likes these quick tracks, this low downforce quick tracks. It seems pretty clear that they run quite well. At least Max runs quite well there. So whether it's Max that's suited to those tracks or whether it's the car, I mean, I can only imagine that the car has to play a part as well. So I guess when it comes to these faster tracks, these faster low downforce tracks, I think that's where we'll start seeing Red Bull come alive a bit more. So, I mean, when we look at Miami, I'm not expecting Red Bull to pull up, but I am probably expecting Max to do well. Just simply because he's probably angry now. And you know how Max is when he's angry, he just bulldozes everything in his way. So I'm expecting some sparks to fly in the next race. Anyways, let's talk about the Piastri thing though. I mean, you touched on it now, right? And I mean, let's put it like this, right? I've said this before. I don't know if I've said it on the podcast before, but I've definitely said this on TikTok and so on, and to you guys. If Piastri and Norris is like Senna and Prost. Senna being like the aggressive one, that's Norris. He's the aggressive one, but sometimes with the aggressiveness you make a lot of mistakes. And then Piastri being the Prost type of driver, where he's just extremely calculated, very clever, right? Piastri's winning most of the races if that's how it's going to be. Because the thing with Norris is, Max went through this, right? He went through this whole thing of making mistakes a lot of the times, having accidents. Norris has never gone through this before. So this is the first time he's going through this stage in his career. So we need to now understand this is also a mental thing as well, confidence. It's now 2 races in a row that he's made big mistakes that have cost him dearly. So you got to think about the confidence that he is that he has, which is probably low right now. So whether he'll be able to turn this around and come back into the fight, I don't know. He is only at 10 points behind. But at the moment, I really see Piastri starting to starting to run away with it. I think, and it is early, but I think I'm gonna back Piastri.
I mean, as you're going back in time now, if you ever watched seasons between between Senna and Prost, did Prost make a lot of mistakes? No, he didn't.
No.
So
That's my point though.
yeah,
It's
so that's the thing, is that that's why we're backing Piastri at the moment, because he doesn't look like he's going to make any mistakes, to be honest with you.
yeah.
While
It's almost
not
yeah.
while Norris is making a few mistakes, and that's probably because of confidence or experience, whatever, or the pressure of actually winning a championship. But Piastri, compared to Norris, this might sound a bit controversial, but I think Piastri is a faster learner than Norris. Maybe he gathers information faster than Norris. He's quick to learn a certain circuit faster than Norris, or he adapts to a certain circuit faster than Norris. And that actually contributes to for him being calculated as well. So those are all ingredients of a championship driver. And how many races is it going to take for us to realize, look, we actually might win this championship? He has won two races back to back now. If Norris was doing this, wouldn't we say that Norris is winning the championship?
Well, probably because at this point, understanding that the team did come into this year backing Lando. I mean, Zach said we're entering the Lando Norris era, right? That was his words. So I think
Mhm.
I do agree. Had Lando been ahead at this point and had won 2 or 3 races like Oscar had, I think we would be looking at us really being adamant that Lando was going to be winning this championship, right? But it's quite clear that Piastri's found something extra. Not to mention that he's so ice cold. He's like Kimi. He's like Raikkonen, bro. He's just so ice cold, and nothing phases this kid. Nothing phases him. And like Max, for example, Max doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He did go through it, but nowadays he doesn't really make mistakes. But you see,
Yeah,
Max wears his heart on his sleeve. Max wears his heart on his sleeve. He's super emotional, whereas Piastri is just ice cold. Like he's not even emotional. He doesn't even. Has this guy ever? Have you ever seen Piastri get upset? Like I don't even know if I've ever seen him get
no.
upset at all. He just does his thing and goes on about things, and I love that. I really love that by him, and I'm very interested to see how the year goes on. I'm going to be honest with you. I still think personally that Lando is faster than Piastri. And the only reason I think that is because he has been in most cases. I mean, this whole weekend he was faster than Piastri. But the problem is being faster doesn't always mean being better. And I think that's where Lando needs to start learning that sometimes being fast is not everything, right? I mean, it's easy to be fast when you've got the best car, but you need to be able to handle that car. You need to make sure that you don't. I mean, come on. Jeddah is like a Monaco that is just super quick, right? You can't make any mistakes there. One lapse of judgment and you're gone. And that was Lando Norris. So, I mean, I'm backing Piastri. I'm not going to lie. I know it's early. I don't care what people say. You can tell me it's too early. It's fine. I said this last week that it was too early, but now I'm changing my mind.
It took you
Yeah.
some time. It took you some time. I think
It,
I think you
it,
were thinking about it, then you were like, I'm not ready to say it. It's not that deep.
it
It's not that
100%.
deep.
It's exactly what you're saying. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to just rip off the band and say stuff that I'm going to back him. Um, but I am.
But the
People can tell me still soon, but I'm gonna back him. It's he is. When we talk about Max being inevitable, I feel like that's Piastri now. He's gonna whether it's this year or not, he's gonna win championships. So I might as well just back him now, anyways. So fair enough.
Yeah, and the thing is that the only difference is that the other driver is clutch and the other driver is not at the moment. That's all.
Yeah, fair enough.
And could you say that the car is more suited for Piastri or Norris, or is it equal? We don't know. I think it's equal. I think the car suits both of them, both driving
Yeah, I
styles.
think it's pretty equal. But I mean, also McLaren. I, I mean, Norris should know the car much better than Oscar, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think McLaren are that type of team that focus too much on one driver's specific style. They more focus on the car, and the drivers need to adapt to their car. I think that's more how I see them operating. So, but yeah, I mean, look. shoot me, guys. I love Lando. Don't get me wrong. I love Lando. But I think at some point we've also got to acknowledge that Piastri is doing some special things. He's been in the sport for, this is his third year. He's got the
Mm-hmm.
same amount of wins as Lando. Same amount of
Dude,
wins as Lando. 6 years versus 3 years. He's got the same amount of wins as Lando. He's won 10% of his races. He's 24 years old. Do you know what I mean? Like, 10% of winning 10% of your races isn't like a small feat. I mean, that's especially so soon in his career. He's a youngster still. He's two seasons and a bit in, and he's already winning races. Uh, and we're not even counting the sprint races. He's won some sprint races too. So ultimately, you can't deny that the kid is special. He is inevitable. He is going to win championships. It's just a matter of when, and I'm just going to back him to do it this year. Why not? So love it or hate it, Piastri for
yeah,
the win. Anyways, Leclerc versus Norris versus George. Now, the reason I bring up all three of them is because all three of them were pretty much in that fight for that podium spot until Leclerc found some
something.
unicorn. I don't know what unicorn that guy had in his engine, but all of a sudden something just clicked. And he was absolutely flying. So you the Ferrari man, I'm gonna let you talk about Charles, and I'm gonna let you gloat over how. I mean,
Fuck, man.
listen, if he qualified first, he was winning that race hands down. Like, just they just found something.
Yeah. I mean, can we speak about Hamilton rather?
Yeah, but I don't know. No,
uh,
I like we will
like,
speak about Hamilton, but yeah,
look, dude, I have nothing to say about Leclerc. Leclerc, Russell are entering their peak. I said this to Dirk last week about Russell. Russell's entering his peak at the moment. It's where everything comes together. He knows the car, knows how to drive the car, knows where to be at the right place. Leclerc's going through that, and one day Leclerc will be a championship driver. Just Ferrari need to get there together, and Leclerc will be there. Now let's move on to Hamilton. What's happening with that guy? What's happening with that car?
he
Sure,
was so
like
anonymous in this
like
race. Eh?
like 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 every time I watch, I never, guys, I never watch F1 post race interviews. Ever since Hamilton has joined Ferrari, I do take the time to watch his post race interviews, and he looks stressed.
I would
There's
too.
something he is. There's something that he's not doing right, or the communication between him and his mechanics and his engineers is something is going wrong there. I think he's trying to optimize that car like a Mercedes. I think that's what Lewis is doing, not understanding that it's actually a way different car than a Mercedes. In
Yeah.
simple terms, in SEO, you cannot optimize, for example, a car brand site like a casino brand site. Those are different. Those are different products,
Things.
different
Yeah.
industries. You can't have the same KPIs for that, or expect the same KPIs in terms of optimization you've done. So I think Lewis Hamilton is trying to change the setup of the Ferrari the way he has done for Mercedes in the last, I don't know, 15 years. I don't know how many years. And that's not working out for him, because now he doesn't have the trust in the car, and now he's driving the car with caution, which makes him not comfortable during the race, which is Leclerc has done. He's been a Ferrari for a long time, and he does a certain setup, and he sticks with it because maybe the Ferrari actually likes drivers just having one setup and maybe two tweaks, then you go on with your weekend. And maybe Lewis Hamilton is changing setups, doing a lot of tweaks, and not getting the right formula in that
Yeah,
car.
but yeah,
So I don't
I,
know.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I think the issue with changing cars, and I think this is where Daniel also found it a bit of a struggle. And I'm going to say this: I, 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 I think we all thought Ferrari Blando was gonna, Ferrari Hamilton was gonna be like a magic, a magic one flown, and all of a sudden Ferrari was gonna be amazing. I think a lot of us thought this, right?
Yeah,
But but I think if we sit down and we really give it some thought, right? If you consider a lot of the older drivers don't adapt well to different cars. The young drivers
Yes.
jump into any car and just go. But the older drivers, Lewis now, uh, 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 um, um, Daniel, and I mean, to an extent, you can even say Alonso, right? Because as good as Alonso is, it's not like he's having a great time either. And I mean, he's had a couple blunders as well over the last couple years in that Aston Martin and even in any car that he's driven, basically. Um, I just think it just seems like the older generation of drivers don't adapt as well to different driving styles or to different cars. I mean, I've got to say one thing that Lewis mentioned, and I believe him because it makes a lot of sense that with the Ferrari he has to do a lot of engine braking, which is so different to what he had at Merc. So I can completely understand that changes your entire approach to racing. That
Mhm.
literally changes your entire approach. Like your whole driving style needs to change because now you've got to suit a completely different way of a car working. Instead of just relying on pure brakes and brake power, you've now got to use the engine to help you brake. That's that must be. I mean, just think about this for a second. When you're going down a hill, you're going to fourth gear, you're going to third gear, you're going to second gear. You're not braking. You're going down the hill, but you're pulling. Your car is slowing down
Mhm.
because that's engine braking,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So imagine as a F1 driver, 300 kilometers an hour. You've got to think about 5 million buttons on your steering wheel. You've got to think about the guy behind you, the guy in front of you. You've got to think about when the next turn is, where the next turn is, where's your braking point, where's your line, your racing line. You've got to think about 10 million things at once. And then you've still got to worry about engine braking instead of just being able to just clap the brakes and just take the turn. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, I can understand how that could be a massive issue um, for any driver. I can understand how that could make it difficult. So I do feel for him in one way if this is true. I do feel for him. So I can understand why if this is true, I can understand how difficult it is. I can understand how it could be a bit of an issue to get used to something like that. And I can understand how any driver would struggle. But you also have to consider that science who did take a little bit of time, he did take a while. But Science, however, once he got used to it, he was flying. He beat Leclerc a couple of times. I think 2 out of the 5 years he beat Leclerc. So you've got to also consider that if Lewis does get the hang of it eventually, you have to consider that there could be still some sparks coming. So I think with someone like Lewis, we've got to also acknowledge he is a 7-time world champion. He does have a lot of experience. He does have a lot to offer. And I know we say this a lot about a lot. I mean, we said it about Lawson. We said it about, Daniel. We said give them time, give them time. But let's acknowledge he's a 7-time world champion, and let's just give him his time to figure it out. If by the end of the year he just hasn't figured it out, then fine. Then we can start slandering the guy. But I really do feel for him if it is true what he's saying. Um, but yeah,
I
I mean, I
mean,
I don't have much else to add to that because
he's not doing a bad job or anything like that. It's just that we didn't expect for him for the adaptation of the car, because we can
yeah.
see he's adapted to the team and the culture and everything, but to the actual car will take him this long, and he's not doing a bad job. And I told this yesterday in the group, he's actually scoring points, but I think
I mean,
he's more worried about where he's finishing and Leclerc beating him. um so I think that's worrying him at the moment. And my next thought now is that, do you ever think Ferrari will actually change the car into braking only for the sake of Hamilton? Do you think they will ever actually do that?
first of all, I
Mm,
don't know how the car works. I don't know how the braking
yeah.
works. I don't know how the car works. I don't know much about that. But if it's as you say, like an easy thing of just changing hardware, I don't think they would. Because first of all, let's be honest, Hamilton is there to help them build something. Leclerc's their golden boy, and they can clearly see that he's good enough. The podium this weekend, the podium this weekend is the three best drivers in Formula One, and I'll say that
Yes,
with my chest
I
out.
agree with that.
With
Yeah,
my
I agree with that.
with my chest out, I will say it with my chest out. There was the three best drivers in F1 was on the podium this weekend, and I really feel like Leclerc owns that team. You can tell me what you like. Like I know I just said we must acknowledge a seven-time world champion. Yeah, we must. But times do change. Leclerc owns that team. I don't think it's necessary for them to go and do too many changes because that could hinder Leclerc and that could be a bigger issue for them because Leclerc right now is hot. He is hot, and
Yeah,
I
he is,
mean,
bro. He is.
don't tell my
And and
don't tell my
and
wife I said that.
and I won't be surprised if other teams are like trying to talk to Leclerc. Like I won't be surprised. Like he is reaching a point now where if he gets a good car, he'll probably get a performance like the way Piastri is driving the car at the moment.
At the moment, I think the only team that would be looking at him would be Alpine, and I don't think he'd be even bothered about that. The reason I'm saying is
Yeah,
I feel
of
like
course.
I feel like Mercedes is happy. I think Red Bull is okay for now. I think if you consider any of the other teams, I don't know. Well, I guess while we're talking about Leclerc moving, let's talk about Max because let's be honest, in the last 2 weeks, that's been quite a big topic. Do you think Max is leaving Red Bull? Do you think he would leave Red Bull? Do you think it's necessary for him to leave Red Bull?
I mean, uh,
You can answer
sure.
me next week if you want to. At this rate, it's tough one. It's really tough because you hear these things about him being
Uh,
so loyal. He's so loyal. He's quite a loyal guy. You hear the people that close to him. They always talk about how loyal he is, and he never seems like he cares enough to want to leave. My thing with him
yeah.
is my thing with him is where does he go? Like I know it's Max Verstappen, and I know that any team would be happy to have a Max Verstappen, but let's just think about it. Max is a Schumacher, right? Wherever he goes, there's going to be a lot of fire.
Yeah.
So Mercedes at the moment, they're very comfortable. I think they're fairly happy. I think they're working with what they've got. Ferrari, pretty comfortable for now. I don't think that they really want that fire at this point. Uh, where else does he go? Aston Martin's not really looking great. Maybe for the future, I don't know. They probably wouldn't care about that fire because they don't. I mean, let's be honest. Red Bull right now doesn't have a second driver that's actually doing much. So him fighting Stroll was probably not going to bring that much fire.
But
Like, I don't think it'd be.
what if a swap deal with Alonso? That'll be crazy.
What would be crazy is seeing Alonso in a Red Bull. That would be crazy.
Yes, I
Yeah,
think
that would be
yes,
mental.
like a swap deal. I
Mm,
mean, contract for contract. You know, Alonso goes
mm.
to Red Bull.
I would really love to see Alonso just win a race before he retires. I just feel like I really need to see that. But speaking of Alonso, he's apparently been talking to Max. I read something the other day that he was giving Max some advice to
Yeah.
because of course Alonso's been through the whole title fight in not having the best car,
Hmm.
and he fell short. If I recall, he fell short. Was in the Ferrari, but
Yes.
he was in the fight until the end. In fact, it was the
Yeah.
2008 season, was it not? When Lewis won the controversial win with Lewis. No, it might have been after that.
No, it was Vettel. Remember him
Oh
and
yeah,
Vettel were going toe
it
to
was
toe at
against
some
Vettel.
point. Yeah.
Red Bull and Ferrari, 100%. Yeah, Red Bull and Ferrari, 100%. So he's obviously been through this whole thing of not having the best car but still being in a title fight and pushing it till the end. I think he's advice to Max from what I read was simply you cannot make mistakes. You have to do everything by the book from now, which
Hmm.
I read this after the
Yeah.
race, so I don't know if this advice was given before or after the race, but if it was given before the race, Max didn't listen. I can tell you that for sure.
Yeah. Clearly, he's been looking at Max, and maybe maybe Alonso knows something we don't know. Maybe Stroll's going to be a reserve driver for Aston Martin one day. You never know.
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of questions. I mean, if even in the, I mean, even Alonso got questioned. Like, would you like to have Max at Aston Martin? And he's like, well, it's not going to happen. Of course he would, but it's not going to happen. But these questions always have, I don't know. Sometimes the answers have some kind of subliminal messaging.
Hmm. No, like I was about to say, so let's just say where we want Max to go between Mercedes and Aston Martin, and state your reason why, just to convince people, like if how that scenario would happen, how it would be.
Aston Martin, I'm not even thinking about it. Like, hands down, I'm not even thinking about it. Aston Martin, 100%. See, for me, there's one thing. Like, okay, I don't think all drivers are meant to do this. Maybe Max is not really the type. Maybe Max is not meant to do this. Maybe Max is just one of those guys that get into a car and drive it, and just he's just that good at doing that. Maybe not every driver is a build the team type of driver. But if there's anything that Max needs to do that really proves that he is like GOAT quality, it's to go into a team and just help them transform the team. Like, you know, I, I mean, when I say help them transform the team, I just mean like, imagine Max going to Aston Martin next year, for example, and then all of a sudden Aston Martin has one or two wins to their name. And then all of a sudden in 2027 with the Honda and the newie thing, and all of a sudden after a year of the new regulations, Aston Martin are in the title fight. I mean, think about what people will think about Max at that point. People will start getting a little bit more convinced, right? About, yeah, maybe this kid does have something. I mean, I know a lot of people do already think that, but you've always got this group of haters that just Max can do no right. You know what I mean? I think going to Mercedes is, for me, it's just the boring option. But also, I just think that Aston Martin has something a little bit more exciting that I'm invested in more than Mercedes, and that's the whole idea of rebuilding a whole new team of individuals that are extremely known and widely respected in the industry. I just I want to see it happen. I want to see
Yeah,
that happen.
I mean, I'm going total opposite. Like, I would like to see him in Mercedes, to be honest with you. Um, Purely the fact that it's a similar move to the move that Lewis made. Take a successful team and getting them back to the top. I think that would add something to his legacy. I'm not saying the Aston Martin move wouldn't, but I think him just working with Toto, which something that we never thought would happen, just like Lewis Hamilton with Ferrari, we never thought that would ever happen, and we thought
Mm,
that Lewis will retire as a Mercedes driver, but he went to Ferrari, and I think
100%.
Mercedes would be a such unexpected move from Verstappen. The same way we reacted to Lewis Hamilton going to Ferrari, I think is the same way we would react if Max Verstappen signs with Mercedes. Because if he signs with
Yeah.
Aston Martin, we know who's there. He has worked with that
Mm,
guy that's in Aston Martin before. He has never worked with Toto before
yeah.
at Mercedes. So you can
But
imagine the hype
yeah.
around that.
Percent. I guess there's an argument to be made from both sides that can be quite exciting for Max either way. I mean, I guess if he went to either team, for me, I think if he signed for any team at this point, I think it would be like, whoa. It would be like Lewis going to Ferrari. It's just like Max has never been anywhere else other than Red Bull.
Yeah.
It's just it would just seem weird. Um, but hey, I'm for it. To be honest, I said this in the past as well. As much as I love Red Bull, as much as I love Max, I'm for it, man. I would not mind seeing Max at a different team. I would not mind seeing Max take on a different challenge and see what he can do with it. I'm for it, man. Sometimes it's nice to have these things happen. Sometimes it's nice to see these changes, and I'm completely for it. But anyways, let's close this one off. Let's move on to our fun section, so that we can close this one off and call it a night, so that everybody watching can go and sleep. Like the one or two people that do watch, one of them's probably Dirk, and then the other one is like, I don't know. But let's let them go and sleep. So first of all, let's cover the donkey of the race. BT, who's your donkey of the race?
I really don't have one, eh? To be honest with you.
Mate, mine was super clear to me.
But I'm gonna say Norris again. This is the third time in a row.
Well, he had a
I'm gonna
good
say
race though.
Norris.
Okay, fair enough.
It's donkey of the week. I'm gonna say donkey of the weekend because his mistake in qualifying,
Fair enough. You're
and he's
changing the
been. He
rules here,
was
but it's okay.
no. Wait. Let me explain. He was fast in practice 2 and practice 3. I think he was the
Mm,
fastest, if I'm not mistaken. So going into qualifying, I thought, okay, cool. My pick was for him to be on pole from a prediction. So on that
mine too.
at that point, yeah, at that point, I was thinking, okay, cool, you will be on pole. Then he made a mistake. So I'm gonna twist the rules a bit. I'm gonna say for the weekend, he is my donkey for that one mistake in a crucial race that you could have extended his championship lead. So I'm gonna give it to
Fair
Norris.
enough.
I don't care what people say.
Fair,
Yeah,
fair enough. Personally, I don't think too many people care that much. But hey, I mean, I care. I care. That's all that matters. My donkey of the race is pretty clear, man. It was Bortoleto. That guy is becoming the most anonymous driver like I've ever. Like they
it's
asked
the
him to swap
car,
with
Graham.
Hulkenberg. No, dude, no. Hang on, just hang on.
It's
First of
the
all,
car, bro.
Hulkenberg has scored points. Hulkenberg hovers around the 12th mark sometimes. He was asked to swap with Hulkenberg. He never beats Hulkenberg. The man literally got into a tussle with his own manager on the track. I mean, like, how was that flight home? I mean, just think about that for a second, right? Like, just think about
Yeah,
that conversation on your way back home. Like, yeah, Fernando, I'm so sorry. I don't know that. I don't know what his accent is, but I'm just saying, like, like I don't know, man. It's just I don't know. For me, Bortoleto is probably the most, and I know the car is terrible, but to me, he's the most underwhelming rookie of all of the rookies, which is so strange because he's the one that actually won the championship. My honest opinion, say it how you like. You can think of it how you like. Colapinto to me better than Bortoleto. Just putting it out there. I know the car is terrible. I know the car is terrible, but the thing is, Williams was terrible too when he was in it, but he made things work. He figured things out. Hulkenberg made something work in the first race with him, and he scored points. Why couldn't better Bortoleto? So that's all I'm saying. So he was my clear donkey of the race. So we'll move on to the stallion of the race, and honestly, I'll take this one first because I know we're probably going to have the same person, and I just want to put this out there as the non-Ferrari fan. I've just got to say that this driver of the day is such an absolute popularity contest because Max literally got a 5-second penalty at the start of the race. He lost the lead because of a penalty. He never got it back. He stayed second. How did he get driver of the race? I don't understand that. I don't
me
understand that.
too. Me too.
Like,
I don't.
PS, like, I mean, Charles literally pulled the unicorn out of the hat. Like, he came out of nowhere. Nobody was expecting him to
Nowhere.
come anywhere. Like, Russell was chilling. Then we knew Norris with. We thought, okay, Norris with a good strategy will probably hit the podium. That's what they were working towards because he went the hards to the medium. So at the end of the race, we're thinking Norris will come through on his mediums at the end of the race and he'll obliterate everyone because he's got the fastest car on the track. But hang on, Mr. Charles Leclerc had other plans, man. He was like, "Nah,
Yeah, Sir Charles.
I'm gonna take these mediums to lap 30, and then I'm just gonna have fresh hards to just annihilate the track for the whole of the race." And it worked. So for me, stallion of the race, Charles. Your turn.
Yeah, and Charles is doing well on the hards, eh? Like Hamilton is complaining on the hards, and Charles is just enjoying the hards. So that's quite interesting to see. But mine, mine will have to be. I have to amend the rules a bit again. Mine is the two Williams boys. They did well. The two Williams
Oh
boys did
yes.
well.
By
They
the
did
way,
well. They did well.
I got a point for my predictions. My bold prediction was science to score points, right? So thank you, science,
the
and you are
safe,
100% correct.
the safest
When asked
ball position prediction.
no,
Huh?
that wasn't safe. The guy
It,
had 1 point
it,
before
it
this
is.
race.
It is. It is.
Uh,
It is.
listen, it wasn't safe. But listen, When last did Williams have a double point score?
Last season.
Really? Oh, okay, fair enough. I thought it was longer. Anyways, it's
Yeah.
fine. Let's move on.
Well, last season, yes.
Oh, Colapinto
Yes,
and
last
Albon.
season.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so. I think so. But yeah, they did well. Even
they did
Albon
well.
helped Science with some Dior Este, which was quite cool. So yeah, well done
By
to
the
them.
way, by the way, speaking of hards, we were talking about Charles doing well on hards. Did you see George Russell's interview
Hmm.
when he
No,
said when you put the hard? No, because he was talking about when you put the hard on, and then he just
this does not sound right.
that exactly. He was. I don't know where his mind was, but he was literally like, and then we put the hard on, and then he paused, and then he just started laughing. I don't know what was going on in his mind. So juvenile, but I love it. I'm really starting to become a George fan. The guy's hilarious, like
Oh
honestly.
my
Anyways,
goodness. Oh,
no, I don't know. We'll see how things go. But in any case, okay, moment of the weekend. Moment of the weekend. Just one moment of the weekend.
oh yeah, yeah. Jennifer Lopez at the Ferrari garage,
Nice.
Lewis Hamilton side. That was beautiful
Obviously,
with that
obviously,
pink tight suit on. Wow, that was
obviously,
amazing.
BT's gonna say that. Obviously, BT's
Yeah,
gonna say.
I mean, Lewis Hamilton is doing something right. He's bringing all the celebrities into the Ferrari garage. Like Usher was there,
Yeah,
J Lo was there, all those people.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I was looking at the picture of because Lewis has got the new hairstyle now, the longer hair.
I
And I was
saw
I
that.
was looking
The under-
I was looking at the picture of Lewis and JLo, and I was like, yeah, she looks quite pretty this weekend. JLo is also nice, but yeah. Anyways, let's never mind.
I call that Lewis Hamilton's hairstyle the Undertaker hairstyle. It looks like the Undertaker hairstyle. Kind of looks like it.
Fair, yeah. Anyways,
The
cool.
wrestler
My
people, the
my
wrestler.
my moment of the weekend is Max's pole position lap because that lap was ridiculous. That just like in Japan, it was a crazy lap. Um, and you could tell that oak was literally pushing that car to the limit. But hey, ultimately, it is what it is. So that is the episode done and dusted. So before we go, BT, rate the race out of 10, please, sir.
I'm gonna give it a 7.
7. Okay, great stuff. It's not too bad. I'm going to give it an 8. I know 8 seems a bit high, maybe. But I just found the race really, really entertaining. It wasn't very action packed, but it was super entertaining. And there was not one time of the race where I was sort of like not engaged. So that was it for
Yeah,
me.
you know,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, there was not much of strategy either, man. I think I was looking for strategy most of the time.
Fair enough. Nobody cares though. So we're going to go. Um, I'm just joking. No, I care, BT. Right. Okay, cool. So that is all we have for you guys today. We are going to wrap up, and I'm going to say please click the subscribe button below and the like button and just comment. Let us know your thoughts. Tell us how you thought the race was. Let us know if you think Max was deserving of that penalty. Let us know if you think Max is actually going to leave Red Bull eventually, because that's quite an interesting story.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, have a very, very, very good day, and we will see you in the next episode. So, cheers.
Cheers. And Dirk is missing, so please hit us up where he is. We don't know where he is. He's missing. We don't know.
Milk carton.
He did
We'll
what
have to get the
Graham.
milk cartons out.
I
Yeah, no, I know. Anyways, he wouldn't understand that joke because he's too young to understand that. But anyways, that's it, guys. Have a very, very good day. We will see you in the next episode. Cheers.
cheers, guys.